Hi, friends.
Hi, friends!
Hello.
Welcome to Friends of Disney, our podcast where we talk about Disney. If you're new to our podcast, please follow us. And,
Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
or whatever you get your podcasts.
Exactly.
Or YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube.
Yes. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Click the notification bell.
So
Get
you,
notified every Monday.
I hate the notification bell. I'm Shawn.
I'm Megan.
I'm Jonell. We're three weirdos.
Very, very much weirdos if you spent the last hour.
Happy birthday to Shawn, because this is his birthday episode.
Yes, when this releases, yesterday,
I realized this was the birthday episode.
yes, when this releases, yesterday would have been my birthday.
So everyone wish him happy birthday in the comments section below.
And with that being said, we're talking about, honestly, my favorite animated Disney movie, which is, it's like a very close gathering what my favorite Disney movies are. It's not by large margins.
It's Mary
Your favorite
Poppins.
Has my favorite villain, yes. But my three main favorite Disney movies are Mary Poppins, Peach Dragon,
And Sleeping Beauty.
which, if you didn't guess by the thumbnail, it's not Peach Dragon.
Fun fact.
So we know what we're looking forward next year.
No.
We'll get there. Eventually, we'll hit up Peach Dragon.
Oh, that's going to be really hard.
We'll tackle that bridge when we get there. But we're not talking about Peach Dragon.
No, we're talking about Sleeping Beauty.
I love this movie. Okay, before I start my lovely rant, you go, Jonell. You're about to say something.
Oh, I was about to say something really stupid.
What?
Say it.
Okay, so I was like thinking of like one of the songs in Sleeping Beauty, and then I was like, that's not in Sleeping Beauty, that's in Cinderella. Wrong movie.
What song were you thinking?
Cinderella. But I wasn't thinking of the actual word Cinderella. I was thinking of all the other lyrics, but the one where they go like,
The one at the beginning with like the horses and stuff.
"You're the da 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 do 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 do."
Cinderella. Oh no.
Hold up, I gotta pull this up on Spotify so you can see the lyrics in the center.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well,
Oh my god.
Jonell,
Oh my
not
god.
Disney.
Anyways,
Oh my
no, I love this movie for so many reasons.
Okay. I'm gonna
You go.
listen. So Shawn and I were hanging out with baby Casper last night. We were watching the movie and I nearly fell asleep like 8 times. So let me get my thoughts and reactions out of the way. Oh my gosh, there was this YouTuber who I was watching the other day, which I'm going to give a shout out, named Norellis, who did a wonderful video essay about the evolution of the Sleeping Beauty story. And so that's what I thought about the entire time. That and Mary Blair, who, if you don't know who she is, she's a wonderful artist. I'm pretty sure she's dead now.
Possibly.
Okay, so this was the specific sentence. Sorry for completely cutting you off, but this is the exact sentence of the song I was thinking about. In the ending of the main title in Cinderella, the ending of the song goes, "In the sweetest story ever told," when it goes like Cinderella,
In the
sweetest story ever
Yeah.
told. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about. And then I was like, wait, that's not Sleeping Beauty, because Sleeping Beauty
That's not,
has
yeah.
the guards that
Mhm.
were scary.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Honestly,
The
I was
beginning-
only scared by the red ones. I was like, the blue ones look cool.
Yes! Oh my god. Like, okay, the Sleeping Beauty intro scared the shit out of me because of just the red guards.
Okay, but you please fact check me on this. Do they read the storybook in Cinderella? Because they don't in this, because the storybook opening.
Well, in Cinderella, yeah, they do, because it goes, once upon a time.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I know in Snow White they don't.
But I don't know about Sleeping Beauty.
They do in Sleeping Beauty. That's the whole opening. before
I think
before that
it's
song
the
starts.
Little Mermaid that they don't.
Little Mermaid doesn't have a storybook opening.
Yeah.
But no, Snow White doesn't. So I wasn't sure if Cinderella did or not, because if not, then that would mean this was the first one where they actually read the storybook opening. But apparently not. So, oh no. But no, what were you saying, honey?
This whole movie, I kept thinking that Mary Blair was the story, like the person who was in charge of the art, like the art director, and it turns out she was not. And I kept thinking about how she designed the storybook, the castle surroundings for the like Euro Disney castle.
Disneyland Paris.
Disneyland Paris castle. And I just kept thinking about Mary Blair and being like, oh, I can see where Mary Blair got her inspiration from.
For those who don't know, Mary Blair is basically, she has a unique art style that is, the way I best describe it is the It's a Small World facade at Disneyland was Mary Blair.
Yes, and I love her so much. I think about her all the time. Not as much as Lin-Manuel Miranda, apparently. But, sorry, Shawn and I had an argument today where we were arguing if I was just a general Lin-Manuel Miranda lover or if I was a Lin-Manuel Miranda stan.
No, before we go back to the movie, her response was, I am a general appreciator of Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I call BS on that so hard.
It's kind of like how I have a squish on Post Malone.
Yeah, but you're not a general appreciation. Oh, no. What the heck? Okay, that was weird. Oh, well.
That just happened.
It happened, but we're back. Yeah, but we're still recording.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't out for a long time.
The computer where we can, like, our monitor where we can, like, see that.
We're back. That's all that matters, baby. It's you and me. You and me.
And me and you. We got the whole place to ourselves.
In our first Steve. Steve. You third wheel involved
every time. Okay, for reference, our monitor where we see ourselves froze. So if there was anything on your guys' end, we're sorry. If not, ignore our weird antics. Anyways, so I'm gonna post some fighting words to you, Jonell.
Okay.
I think that the meetup between Aurora and Prince Philip is 100% more like precious and cute and romantic than Cinderella's.
Well, I don't have anything. I just like Cinderella.
You love Cinderella.
Yeah.
You might be obsessed with Cinderella.
So but I think that the meetup of Aurora and Philip is more romantic than Cinderella's meetup with the prince.
I mean, it definitely is more natural because, oh, I'm going to go out in the forest and collect some berries. Hello there, horsey. You need food. There's a beautiful woman. I must woo her.
Wrong. He heard her voice and he followed her voice.
Okay, listen.
After following the animals who stole his clothes.
Okay, listen. I have something I need to admit right now. Briar Rose, aka Aurora, is really, really pretty. I would date Briar Rose. She's 16? Girlfriend, do you know what I looked like at 16? A pimple mess.
You know what the 16-year-olds look like today?
Not a pimple
They're
mess.
not Aurora.
They're not Aurora. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty.
Kim K.
But no, Aurora.
I'm not. Please don't come after me, Kim. I know you have a lawyer team. Don't come after me.
No, like, I feel like Aurora. So, okay. This movie. I know you know a lot of stuff about this movie because me and you are both ridiculous Disney nerds and we talk about fun facts with each other around the different movies. But I don't know how much of this you know about. This movie was not just a flop for Disney. it received harsh feedback from both critics, and there were a lot of issues with the staff because of it. Because one, the production cost at the time, because this released in 1959, it ended up costing $6 million, which
It's a
a,
lot.
a lot compared to today's much more. I think it's like high double digit, like probably around 50 to 60 mil in today's money. And it lost profit in box office. Like it didn't eventually made up for its production cost given its multiple re-releases into theaters, but it completely flopped in box office. Everyone praised the artwork, don't get me wrong, but they thought the plot and the characters were awful, too reminiscent of the prior two princesses. And Walt Disney got frustrated so many times that he kept on replacing staff, and his other projects were pulling staff away because he was also working on Disneyland at the time, which the whole reason behind Disneyland's castle being called Sleeping Beauty's castle was to promote the movie. But the animators were so frustrated because Walt Disney was barely paying attention to this movie. He would only come in if they hard pressed him. Otherwise, he was like, "Yeah, they're fine. And they're fine," and did not really give it that much attention.
I mean, Walt was, the original CEO of the company when he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this kind of like comes in, there's a different perspective. And like I know in the business world, like I'm sure they did movies, not like a multiple at a time like they do now. And it was definitely one movie at a time.
One or two, yeah.
But I mean, the building of um the theme park is definitely something where Walt had to take a lot of time off to focus on that versus something he should have full trust in his company
Mm-hmm.
doing on their own.
The big problem came with that, with how important this movie was to Walt, and he pushed it to be. Because the hard thing with it was that they already had Snow White and Cinderella made. And like what Megan was trying to say earlier, Snow White and Sleeping Beauty both have a lot of similarities to their stories.
At one point in time, they were like
Identical
stories, and someone along the way pulled them apart.
And full disclaimer, this movie is not based off of Brothers Grimm, Sleeping Beauty.
Nope. Thank goodness, because Brothers Grimm is, well,
But
grim.
well, it's one thing to be based off of, it's another to be telling of. But they did not pull the Brothers Grimm version of Sleeping Beauty. They pulled a different version. But Walt pushed it to be like the pinnacle of his animated films. But to try and separate it from Snow White, especially Snow White, proved to be so difficult. It was one of the harshest critiques of the movie. And he kept on getting frustrated. Like they would have to, by the time when they finally, this took almost 10 years. They started in 1950 to production. And again, it didn't release till 1959. So it spent almost 10 years making this movie. And they constantly had to completely redo the storyboard because stuff just wasn't working in trying to separate it. Like the artwork was obviously there. Don't get them wrong, but the story wise, it proved to be so difficult, and a lot of critics said Dumbo's better, Pinocchio's better, plot and character wise.
Really, Pinocchio?
Because it was because a lot of people felt like it was a rehashing of Snow White, which is funny now because you look at it and yeah, you can see some similarities. You can.
To be honest, I never really paid attention.
She grew up in a cottage. Snow White ran off to a cottage. Evil Queen and Maleficent both put them in a sleeping death, basically. Now, Maleficent did originally curse her to die, but it got changed to sleeping.
Yeah.
Which is what Snow White's was.
Which was true love's kiss, not true love's first kiss.
Mm-hmm.
True love's kiss.
And Snow White had 7 dwarves. Sleeping Beauty had 3 fairies.
3 bumbling buffoons. Sorry.
Okay, the real question is, though, which dress did you like better?
Blue.
Pink.
Blue.
I
Sorry.
hate that they made her have the pink dress for the reasons that they did, because it's a wrong reason.
Because Cinderella had blue?
Cinderella's dress is silver. Over time, they've changed it to blue, but that's a silver dress. Versus this deep
it's more
blue.
like a white with like chiffon underneath to like bring out like glitter aspects, and then like glittery tulle, and then when I look at this dress here, I think there's no way in hell that like this was silver, and that it had to have like satin on it, and it had to be like white satin, and then there had to be sparkly tulle, and it just the most beautiful is actually, that's a lie. I think Sleeping Beauty has the most prettiest dress.
I love Sleeping Beauty's dress.
Sleeping Beauty has the prettiest dress.
And I'm gonna make an argument here, and you can fight me in the comments below. She also has the prettiest, like, normal person clothes.
Yes.
Like, every Disney princess has, like, they're, like...
So what's funny is that my
streetwear, or, like, their casual wear, and then their, like, formal gown. So Belle's is, like, the blue dress, and then the yellow dress. Ariel is the only one who I'm not gonna count because she's a mermaid.
Cinderella. So I actually like Cinderella's raggedy clothes better than... You see, but I still picture that to be like white satin, not silver. Because if you look at...
Even then, it's not blue.
But like...
You just spit all over me.
Sorry. Jeez.
We're a hot mess today.
We are.
Okay, so before the podcast, I literally cried.
Like on the edge of the screen.
But Sleeping Beauty does have the prettiest dress.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like Cinderella's day-to-day attire. Like, I like her rags because, you know what? She's comfortable and she's thriving.
I want to recreate both dresses that Aurora / Briar Rose has. If I had a girl,
look so good on you.
Oh, thank you. If I had a girl, I would want to name her Briar Rose. I think that's such a pretty name.
It is such a really pretty name.
I'm thinking, like, okay, this was actually what I wanted to bring up on today's podcast episode.
What?
Was the similarities and differences, and like, who was your favorite of like we're gonna categorize the princesses, but I feel like that should be a different episode because there's a tier to everything. Like Cinderella, she has the best accessories, like modern accessories, because of the fact she has a choker, and you can easily make that headband and earring like very stylish in today.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, ranking the princesses could be its own episode because that's a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
Jasmine.
And we haven't even talked, like, we've only talked about, how many princesses have we talked about? We've talked about
Cinderella,
Snow White, Cinderella,
and Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast we've talked about. We're now in...
I think Belle has the most timeless look. Because you can put her in a Victorian dress and call it classic.
But I'm trying to think if we haven't done a lot of the other princesses. Neither of them, only 4 of the main Disney princesses we've done.
All right, so sorry viewers, but now you're gonna know a possible future episode right now. Let us know.
Why are you sorry? let us know what we should debate in the comments below.
This episode's coming. Tell us.
The princesses attire and ranking them.
Or should it be just overall, like, ranking the princesses? Like, what should
Yes.
we ranking these princesses on?
Yeah, like who has the best singing, who has the best animal characteristics.
Anyway,
Has the best
let
companion.
us know in the comments.
Because
But
I truly think that Aurora has the best dress.
okay, but can we talk about Maleficent for a second?
No.
I was wondering when this was gonna pop up.
She's such a badass. I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry for swearing, but she is. This movie does a villain the best, in my opinion.
Honestly, like
Here's my thing. Maleficent is my favorite villain because she gives no Fs, but is evil for the sake of being evil for the context of this movie. Like, don't get me wrong, I have a lot to speak about the Maleficent movie.
Maleficent is like I think she's one of the cooler looking villains for
I
sure.
agree. I agree.
But she is the most fun. Like,
All right. So
Right out
our
of-
next podcast episode ranking Disney villains.
hold on here. Hold on here. Let me talk.
He has a thing. Everyone grab your popcorn.
Maleficent, self-proclaimed nickname, but it reigns true, is the mistress of all evil. Right out of the gate, curses baby to death. That trumps all the other classic villains that we see, except for maybe Frollo. Frollo's a different conversation. But like, you don't see something like that. Cursing a full-on baby to death. Baby never did anything. As far as the movie's context is concerned, King Stefan hasn't done anything. The only thing they did
Was not invite her.
was not invite her, which has its own thing about sociopolitics of the time and her not being invited to a very public event. That has its own thing. But cursing them to death, kidnapping the prince, torturing him. She straight up tortured him while he was chained up. Like, and then literally conjures all the powers of hell. That is insane.
Like insane like Cars 2.
Different kind of insane.
So I'm thinking back. So, okay. I like Maleficent for the fact that I think she's a cool looking villain. Now, is she my favorite villain? No. But, there's different things that I appreciated. Okay, this movie definitely had all of the graphics that like I appreciate looking at. It's visually very aesthetic.
It's beautiful.
Yes, it is beautiful. But I like all of the other princess movies for like so many different reasons. But there is one thing in this movie story plot that I always found it stupidly funny and I always think back on it.
Is it the goblins searching for a baby after 16 years?
No. Okay, that is funny too. That is funny too. But no. I'm now thinking back over there like singing Shawn, Shawn, and then the guy is like sitting there playing his like guitar.
Oh, Scumps, yeah.
Yeah, Scumps. I was gonna say Shuts. I don't like. It's not that. Shots. Shots.
I am not throwing away my shot.
Scumps.
Da, 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 da. Anyways, that character always brought me so much joy for him being an alcoholic, but like
I never processed that he was drunk. Like, theoretically, I'm like, oh yeah, he drank so much he fell asleep. But I didn't process, oh wait, he drank a lot of alcohol and went into drunken sleep.
yeah, I just thought he was a funny character. Like I always knew he was drunk. I realized a few minutes ago I did say alcoholic. I don't think alcoholic is the best word to describe him because like you can tell in the movie that like this was probably his first time trying liquor and he's like, "Oh, this is delicious." Oh,
it was funny how like he like fill up the loo and he would like hold it like a baby, like
baby?
it was so funny.
I think I just realized something.
Mm.
I don't think I've actually ever watched this movie fully until I was an adult. Because I remember my grandma having this movie, and I remember asking her all the time if we could watch it. And my grandma being like, no.
Yes.
Can we agree of a specific scene being one of the scariest Disney scenes
But
to
before
exist?
we do that, we have to tell Jonell and the viewers.
Do you know which scene I'm talking about? There's one specific scene that I do not watch to this day because I hate it.
No.
And I know there's other Disney fans that share my pain. So the fairies bring Aurora back to the castle, right? They give her the crown and she puts her head down crying. And they leave the room. That scene where the camera shifts over to the fireplace and the fire goes away. And you see Maleficent's outline in her face.
I know.
In that darkness.
Mhm.
I to this day cannot watch that scene. It freaks me out too much. I used to be terrified of that scene as a child, and I to this day do not like that scene at all.
Okay.
It is absolutely terrifying to me.
That never terrified me, but you know what does terrify me that's way more stupid? Every time an avatar is connecting, like a human is connecting to their avatar.
You went a completely different direction with this.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that one.
I'm sorry, but that's what that made me think of.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No. Can't do it. I once saw a Facebook post in one of my Disney Facebook groups where I connect with other Disney adults. And one post was like, oh yeah, scariest Disney scene. And I said that specific scene, and I like
I gotta look
at least 10 people agreed with me on that. And luckily I'm married to someone who also agrees with me. I hate that scene.
I can watch it, but I definitely see how it's creepy.
I couldn't stand it as a child. I used to be terrified I would hide under my blankets. And to this day, I just don't look at it.
So, funny story. So we were talking about how last night when we watched this movie, Shawn and I, we're married, by the way. For those who are new, Shawn and I are a married couple, and Jonell is like our best friend.
I'm the family friend now at this point.
Yeah.
That little Steve bit they did earlier, she's Steve.
Okay, but it was referencing to.
I know what you were referencing to.
Yeah.
But we were watching with Casper Jr. to move on.
Casper Jr. is our baby.
Yes, and we call him
I'm
Casper.
childless.
We call him Casper Jr. for
Anonymity.
Yes, because he's a baby, and we're not about exploiting our child. And so he was watching it with us last night, and he was so interested. Like he wasn't even like.
Okay, that's
What's it?
interesting that you say
I've
that.
never seen him more interested in anything we put on TV. He straight up wouldn't, like, didn't even move. His eyes were locked on the TV for like 20 minutes. Did not move.
Well, he was really interested, I felt like, in Wicked.
He was asleep through the whole movie.
He was awake during the first maybe 20 minutes.
Maybe. He slept through the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my gosh, this literally.
Did you see the scene I was talking about? Is that what you were looking up, or
Oh,
you said you were going to see something?
yes, I was gonna look up the scene that you were
Here,
talking about,
I'm
but
gonna-
then we were talking. Oh, yes. Okay, now I remember. Sorry, there are so many different tangents that are going on in my head right now that are all related to the movie, and it's totally fine. So you know how was really paying attention to this movie? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll bleep it out.
I am so sorry. Casper Jr. God.
I'll bleep it. You're fine.
Okay, anyways, Percy, my cat, was so invested in this movie.
Okay, this is.
Oh, yeah, no, that never terrified me.
No, I was terrified as a child. And no,
I'm
get it off.
working on it, sir.
I don't like it. I don't like that scene. It's terrifying to me.
I pulled it up on my phone to show Jonell, and Shawn chucks my phone away.
It's like a spider, okay?
Do you want to hear a funny spider story?
By Shawn's response, no.
No throwing me under the bus, hon.
It's not about you.
Oh,
Okay.
Crazy.
Okay, so I work at a daycare, and I work with toddlers, and so one of my toddlers pulls me across to the other side of the room and goes, Miss Egan, Miss Egan. This child cannot pronounce an N to save their life. Miss Egan, Miss Egan. I'm like, what is it? And they point to the wall and they go, Eider, Eider. And I'm like, what the F? And there was a giant spider, like this big, crawling on the wall. And I was like, dang, this dude's alive during this cold weather. And one of my other kids goes, save it, save it. And the other kid goes, kill it. At the same time. So I go over, I get a cup, and I go back and like sweep it under the cup and throw the spider outside. Which I know will probably kill it, but I'm trying to teach my kids, don't kill things just because you don't like them.
I'm not teaching our child that. Die, spider, die.
It'd be like me, who, when they were in preschool, saw a spider on the ceiling, and all the children just got down for nap time. And I'm trying to be quiet during nap time, but then the spider from the ceiling starts attaching its web, dropping down closely to my face, and I scream.
Nope. Good.
No, apparently in the spider saber of the three of us. What does that
Yep.
say about me?
You're the spider queen.
I'm honored.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we have asked people to send us pictures of their pets to our email.
I don't know why we
and
keep
if
bringing. I don't know why you guys keep bringing that up.
And if there's a spider put in the subject line, there's a spider. So only Megan can look at it.
And I will respond to every single email with many heart emojis and wish all your animals the best of cuddles and kisses and wishes.
But if there's a spider, me and Shawn are leaving that email the F alone.
Peace out.
You get Megan's love alone.
I want that to be a Patreon tier, which is Megan's love alone.
Megan, do we want to monetize you for payment on your ace love?
My very ace love. You'll just get like a thumbs up emoji every like 2 days. But it'll just be a different background.
Okay, guys, I got a business idea for next year. We monetize Megan for Valentine's Day.
You did great, sweetheart.
That's great. Oh my god. Oh my god.
And we'll take pictures of her. And we'll just like sell pictures of
Sell Valentines of like Megan Valentines.
You did great.
Anyways.
Yeah.
You did it.
Anyways. Back to Sleeping Beauty.
Sorry, today's a very tangential episode.
It's a very tangential episode. But
To be fair, we don't want me crying.
so one thing Megan brought up in the movie while we were watching was how when Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather
Are totally lesbians.
I disagree. When they were bringing Aurora to the cottage to raise her and stuff, she said that she would never do that. What are your thoughts? Given the context of the movie, what are your thoughts on that?
On raising your kid in the woods?
No, if you had to do if you were presented with say you were the queen in the movie, what would you have done?
I don't think I would have moved my kid out into the woods. I mean, I think it was logical for them to get rid of all the spinning wheels, but
see, when I debated it a little bit with her, And you can give your 2 cents on if you want, but like, because I was like, she doesn't exactly have a real choice in the matter. Like, the baby's at risk of dying,
I
or
mean,
less. But you had said that you like, well, at least give you at least the first little bit. But I'm like, how long is that gonna be? If that baby knows who you are, it's gonna be that much harder to raise her in the forest if she knows anything about you or the kingdom.
okay, hear me out. Hear me out. I am a mother of a baby.
You listen to me.
You listen to me.
I don't listen to you.
You get the joke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am your mother.
You listen to me.
You see, usually you do it. I am your baby. You listen to me, because in all reality, that's how. Yeah.
Until they become more children, then they do listen to you.
Let me tell you, I work with toddlers who are more.
I'm talking about like 9 to 8-year-olds.
They may or may
Are
not.
more compliant.
Than my 2 to 3 year olds, yes. But let me tell you, as a mother, well, one, the breast milk. I'm just thinking like all the health benefits that like baby Aurora would probably be a very like what are they feeding her? Because
What do you mean? What are they? I mean, and if you figure back to the 14th century,
they usually had wet nurses. So it'd be someone who gave birth around the same time, and the wet nurse would be the person who would breastfeed your child.
Okay, yeah, no. I have also wondered that because like
Like,
what did our forefathers did for milk? Because like women have a hard time producing milk now, and there's some women who are super like mega milk like cows essentially. You know, they have a lot of milk and they can feed a lot of babies, but sorry, that was a little weird.
I mean, so I know. Okay,
Like what substitutes did they have to feed the baby?
okay,
yeah.
okay. I preface this. I am a guy. I understand. I don't deal with this really. I don't produce milk in any way. I get that. However, I was very attentive while Megan was doing all of her education for pregnancy and giving birth. And I work in a hospital.
Yes, yes, yes. For the record, he went to 2 out of the 3 classes.
Mm-hmm.
And the third class that he didn't go to was like literally like what to do with a newborn. And I took extensive notes.
Your cat's purring.
Yes.
But
I can feel it radiating through my leg.
Don't judge me for giving my 2 cents. I'm as educated as I generally can be, given my limited life experience, because I have none. But breastfeeding is all in supply and demand. And even though we as society nowadays have done a lot of research and ways to try and help with that, you figure with modern medicine wasn't developed back in the 14th century. So you also figure that means all the things we know now about what a baby can or can't eat developmentally, that knowledge didn't really exist back in the 14th century.
So
they might have even given cow's milk or other
I
kinds
think
of
cow's milk would have been like acceptable
for the time. Yes, not now.
Yeah.
They very harshly discouraged cow's milk for a while, but because of the risk of botulism. But it's all based off breast milk itself, generally speaking, is supply and demand. As long as the baby wants it and is trying, the body will try to produce it. The less the baby tries to breastfeed, the less the milk you'll produce. Sometimes there's latching issues, tongue ties, so on. But an important thing to also remember is that mortality rate was very high.
thank goodness I didn't live back then.
Yeah, so you figure all those issues probably existed, and the fairies were probably as much as they said they didn't use magic, let's be honest, they probably used magic. But when
And
she was an
Magic
infant.
milkers for you.
Yes.
I do want to call out something funny though. Okay, so remember how at the beginning of the movie, freaking Flora and Fauna were giving Merryweather crap because she's like, I want to turn her into a fat old hop toad. And she goes, no, you can't do that. Our magic can only bring happiness, dear. And she goes, well, that will make me happy. I find it BS considering later on in the movie,
They turn the crow into a statue.
she turns the crow into the statue, but also they instruct a sword to kill a dragon.
I mean,
Our magic can only be used to bring happiness, dear, and it kills something. But you can't do it to turn Maleficent into a hop toad.
you know what? It brought happiness to the townsmen.
So would turning her into a hop toad.
It brought happiness to Philip. Because could you imagine that battle? And he just sliced her with the sword. She became a hop toad instead. I mean,
Sorry, that was a very loud huzzah.
it was basically like what would happen in Descendants instead of like slaying Maleficent. They just turned her into a lizard. That's basically the equivalent. And let's be honest,
I still think it would have been funnier if it was like fat old hop toad.
hop toad, fat old hop toad
That
Maleficent.
means if Maleficent would then turn into a toad, which would really be a type of frog of sorts, then met Tiana,
Oh,
got sprung upon with some different Disney magic, and that made Maleficent into a prince and married Princess Tiana.
go lesbians!
Stop. Please stop.
Please stop lesbianism.
Sorry, I'll stop.
We'll tell you after, honey. This is that humor we were talking about beforehand.
This is the it's a good thing we don't market to children.
Nope.
Disclaimer: we have some adult jokes.
I didn't realize it didn't
anyways.
joke. I'm just gonna go hide in my sweater in Sweater Town.
Well, I was thinking back to another joke in Big Mouth, and then
Okay, can we talk? Okay, did you ever realize how savage the fairies are, specifically Flora and Merryweather are to each other?
yeah.
I like the green one. The green one.
Oh my god, her cake making skills.
I want. Okay, so my dad does cakes for a living on the side, not for a living, but like
A hobby.
it's a hobby he's really good at. He'll like bake cakes and like pipe like decorations on them. He's really good at it. My next challenge to him is I want him to make me the Sleeping Beauty cake so badly. I want that cake. It looks so good. And I don't want like the neat perfect version with the magic. I want the one being held up by the broom.
I know you want the one being held up by the broom.
He was like showing me pictures last night. He was like, see how pretty they look? And I was like, mm-hmm.
Those were fake mm-hms.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was also trying not to fall asleep last night. Like actively, like I was like nodding
Yeah,
off.
that's true. She was. And Casper Jr. did not help.
He was so warm and cuddly. And Mom was just like, yes, I want to snuggle and sleep with my baby.
Okay. I know we've been doing a lot of like praises and jokes around this movie.
I do have a
criticisms.
I do have a criticism.
Do it.
I have like a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings about the Queen. Apparently she does have a name, by the way.
Queen Leah.
Queen Leah. Like, okay, actually no, my biggest criticism is during the part where Briar Rose falls asleep and the fairies tuck her into bed. They put the the blanket in the weirdest way. They have it like in a triangle on the floor, like going to the floor. Like my guy, I know her toes will get cold, but what about the rest of her? Sorry, this really bothered me. The other things, I just last night I had a moment. So because it's totally the fairy's fault for leaving her in the room alone to go get her finger pricked on the spinning wheel. They should have left her in the forest longer until like the 17th, like the day after the 16th birthday. They should have. Like, bros, what are you doing? Bros, why did you leave her alone?
All right, you're 17 now. Go back home to your mom.
Pretty much. But, like, they're like, oh, yeah, it's totally fine. They only have a few more hours left. Bro, that's a few more hours of the girl dying. Like, I know she's moping about, like, her true love or whatever, but, like, also, like, if you're dead, you can't find him. Did you ever think about that? Also, the other thing I have another really strong critique. So after she like pricked her finger and the fairies were like, oh no, they're like, oh, how are we gonna tell the king? And then what's the red fairy's name?
Flora.
Flora's just like, we won't tell them because we'll put them all to sleep. It's literally so that way no one knows that they effed up. It's literally so no one knows.
They are not accountable fairies.
They are not accountable for their actions. Why? Why would the king and queen leave this baby with 3 fairies who are just bubbling buffoons? Okay? They're like, oh, we don't know how to be human. I have a question. Why the fairies? Why not like a knight? Why not a nursemaid? Why not? I don't know. There must be some other magical user besides these 4 fairies, including Maleficent.
Merlin.
Why these 3 fairies? Because they botched it.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, going off of what we were talking about before the podcast episode started, we can assume that based off of that theory, that the 7 little men were taking care of Snow White, and they were just off in their similar story plot.
See, I won't lie. I don't have really much to say about like any criticisms really towards the film. And that's not just based in nostalgia, but I look at the main core elements of the film and it's to me practically impeccable. Like especially how strong the storytelling is, and the use of the music to lend itself to the storytelling. Like I know you want to say something, but just Megan wants to say something, but real quick, like just as an example, that same scene where Maleficent shows up in the fireplace and stuff, nothing is said. Nothing. It's all music, but you know what's happening. As soon as that camera pans over and you hear the music, you know what's happening. That racing up to the tower, it's not till much later where you're like, oh, Maleficent's actually is saying prick your finger. They're all searching for her. You understand what's happening. And almost nothing is being said. Nothing. You're just watching and music's playing. And the music is lending itself in such unique ways to tell the story for us without anything needing to be said. When the fairies are rushing in the forest to get to Philip, you like that movie, the music is keeping it going and tells the story so well that nothing has to be said. No voiceover saying stuff in the background, like what's going through their heads.
No
Nothing.
narrator.
Exactly. But like you see it in a lot of movies. It's like they'll voiceover when they're like the camera will be like on a person and they'll be doing a voiceover telling you what's going on in their side of their head.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing like that in this movie.
I think the only like good movie that has like good narration about what's going on inside someone's head is Inside Out. I feel like most of it's unnecessary.
Yeah. But like,
Also, I have something for us to test after the podcast,
okay,
but that's after the podcast.
okay. But no, like the music lends itself spectacularly well, and the fact they pulled the Tchaikovsky, the music from Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty ballet, they pulled that music in to inspire the music that they actually have. Some of it's like legit, like the actual music, just rearranged. Another bit is just rewrote, like wrote from blind. Or created is what I should say, created for the movie. But I genuinely don't think there's a truly bad thing you can actually say about the movie. Like it was done impeccably. Like maybe looking at it through a modern context, you can probably point out some stuff about.
Oh, there's a lot of issues with it
Oh,
outside of a modern.
okay, but the fact that like the Prince Philip was like, "Come on, father, it's the 14th century now. I'm allowed to marry a peasant." I thought that was the funniest gag in the world.
I mean,
Like
yeah.
that's hilarious.
Honestly, Aurora being 16 might be a little too young or a little too old.
I mean, yeah, but look at the other princesses. It's not much better.
14-year-old Snow White.
Yeah.
Ariel is 16. Like, again, the age is one thing. That's its own separate thing. And that has to do with.
Actually, I think I figured out why all the princesses are so young.
Tell me more.
To make them relatable to children.
I mean, yes, but I think that okay, let's say that Aurora was going to be cursed by the time she was 25. That's like still young. Or let's say 20.
I mean, back then, people didn't really live much past 40.
But let's just say hypothetically, when she turned 20. The whole part of why I don't like Ariel that much is because she is so impulsive. They are so quick to emote. I think the reason why a lot of Disney princesses are so young is because as an adult, we have like these walls. I don't want to say like walls up, but we have more structures in place. So that way, when we want to do something, we think through it. And what makes the princesses so wonderful and naive and interesting to watch is that they don't. They're developmentally not at the stage where they think out everything 100%. They are impulsive. They are.
And it lends itself to the plot very well in that regard. Like, if you think about it, Maleficent was very strategic in placing that when she's 16, she'll die because when Aurora is 16, that's when she's going to be her most emotionally charged, rash decisions. Like, she was devastated and freaked out when she was told she couldn't be with this dude she met in the forest. She had to be with Philip despite them being the same person. She didn't know that. But like she's like, no, 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 no. I want to be with him. I'm so emotional. Like
They just let Aurora continued through that session. Like, I'm gonna marry the man I met in the wood. And then, eventually everyone, she finally is like, this is the man that's Prince Philip, sweetie.
So much could have been avoided if they were allowed to meet. So much could have been avoided.
Okay. Can I say my biggest qualm of the movie? I feel like we don't get enough time with the main character.
It's the biggest joke of all.
You spend more time with like the fairies
and everyone else.
That is just my biggest qualm of this movie.
I believe, like the joke is that she only has 18 minutes worth of dialogue.
Okay, so I heard a very interesting theory. And the reason why not Snow White, Sleeping Beauty gets such the least amount of time is besides like oh, hold on. I just got so excited all the words decided to come out at once instead of at one at a time. The reason that Sleeping Beauty isn't as interesting is because in the stories of the past, she was one of the catalysts for the hero onward. So she gave birth to children who would then become the heroes of their story. She was just the catalyst. And so when you take away that context of her being the catalyst, she's no longer interesting.
Well, she's not that.
She is the catalyst for everyone else's stories.
You're not wrong in that there's more to the story, because the version of Sleeping Beauty that they used, they completely cut the second half of the story. So there's more to this, to the story, to the version that we saw. There was more fairies in total. There was a lot that they cut when adapting this story. And you're right, she's an uninteresting character, realistically speaking. But
I was born cursed, fell asleep, and boom, husband.
I think what's so nice about her is that even though we don't see a lot of her, we don't spend that much time with her, the bits we do see show a very humble, kind, and caring person. Like,
she's not uninteresting.
She's not uninteresting. She has, like, yeah, she grew up in a forest, but like, she's like, I picked berries yesterday. Like, that was something she did.
Okay.
She went out to the woods to gather stuff herself.
So this is what I question.
Mm-hmm.
If she had 3 dumb fairies essentially raising her,
Mm-hmm.
how the hell did she raise herself?
She didn't. Here's the thing. To call them dumb fairies, I don't think is fair. Because
Come on,
Fauna never originally did the cooking.
I mean, yeah.
They said she's always wanted to, and she's never, and this is her last chance. Merryweather did the cooking.
They should have just stuck to what they knew best.
And you had these fairies that agreed not to use magic and had to figure everything out the good old human way. Fauna probably took most care of the baby.
Man, that town must have been a wreck for 16 years, because we previously discussed how the fairies probably did use magic throughout the town to create some massive milk chuggers. So there must have been a high mortality rate those 16 years.
But like,
what an interesting reign.
To call them dumb fairies, I don't think does them justice. The movie Maleficent paints them to be very dumb, but I don't think that's fair to them.
They kind of are dumb in a way.
I mean, to be fair, we're all dumb in something, right? So, like, I am the worst person to talk to technology about. When it comes to human matters, I'm a very patient person. The second you put me in front of a computer that's not working, I will scream. I will start cursing like a sailor. He can attest to this.
She hates technology more than anything. I take care of all that stuff.
And there's a reason for this. I'm also really, really bad at math. But if you told him to write an essay, he would bitch and moan and complain.
I hate writing. I hate it.
But if you told me to write something, I'd be more than happy to do so. We're all dumb in something. And I feel like the fairies are really smart in magic. I mean, they reversed a curse that would literally put this child to death. They just made it sleeping, which is so much less deathy, right?
I mean, yeah.
And so to be like, oh, you're so dumb, you don't know human matters. I agree with doesn't do justice, but also like it'd be like telling me, a human, to go live like a fish.
However,
I never had to do that. I'm probably gonna look really stupid for the first few years.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're expecting that you're looking at
Megan living like a fish. I want to see that.
The thing is, you're not looking at it correctly. You're not looking at the movie correctly. We see them go from leaving with the baby to a 16-year-old. As far as you're concerned, that you're treating that as if them with a 16-year-old was the next day. They spent 16 years living as humans.
And
this is all sparking debate because they know it's his 16th birthday and they're fighting because Flora wants to do this special thing. Fauna wants to bake the cake all of a sudden. This is a different day given the knowledge they have. So they're, of course, they're fighting and acting dumb or whatever because they're so excited. They get to bring her back to her parents and things like that.
They don't have to be parents anymore.
But you got to remember, they were doing this for 16 years.
And we're going to do it for 16 years too.
18 years, if not more. Hopefully not too much more.
17 years and
counting.
And 7 months.
But it's not like it was one day past and they're acting dumb being human. It's 16 years. The 16th birthday they've been waiting for.
I guess it's really hard because we only see them. We don't see Briar Rose growing up. We just see them leaving with the baby and then 16th birthday. I feel like if there was time in between where we saw them
okay, but the crow is or not the crow, but the thingy, the one looking for the baby is absolutely stupid.
Oh yes.
The goblins?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is 100% true. They are fools.
I do have something I want to say about Briar Rose.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to go on a little tangent, but I swear it's related. Have you ever watched Gravity Falls?
Yeah, well, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Do you know the character Wendy?
Yes.
She's a character.
You need to sit forward more. You're almost off camera.
Okay, but I have this weird cramp in my stomach. That's the
sit
thing.
more in the corner then.
Okay, so Wendy is a character from Gravity Falls, which Dipper, one of the main characters, has a crush on.
Trying not to show my.
And she's super cool. And Alex Hirsch talked about trying to give Wendy her own episode to explore what Wendy is like. And they found out that if the more screen time they gave her, the less cool she would become. So to give her a full episode would take away how cool Wendy was. And that's why there's no Wendy-centric episode in Gravity Falls. And I think that's why Aurora works so well as a character, is we see her few defining characteristics, but we don't get anything more else. And do I hate that we don't get more? Yes, but I'm also just a sucker. There's a reason I'm a game theorist, film, etc., etc., etc. I love the lore. Sorry, the lore.
Lore.
He can do it better than I can.
Lore?
Lore. It's a game theory thing. Sweetheart. Anyway,
we're not sponsored by them.
Oh, I wish.
Their YouTube channel.
I know.
I wish. I plan on hosting. I'm kidding. The current hosts are amazing. Shout out to Ash, who is probably my favorite.
But anyways, no, we're hitting our time limit. This is a little bit of a long episode.
I feel like because don't we have stuff prior to this?
What do you mean?
Well, okay, so when we had that little mishap, I thought that
Nope.
It was just the screen froze.
Oh.
Yep, so we've been talking for an hour.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for not having me cry again.
You're welcome. Okay, this has been Friends of Disney. Please subscribe and do all the good things. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, friends.
Bye, friends.